welcome back to the channel. So you've seen that I went ahead and drilled out my bolt holes when we got this off. So I found out from the last video that we did, talking back and forth with some of y'all, which y'all are absolutely amazing, by the way. I just want to say that I feel like I literally have some of the best subscribers it's like anybody can ask for in the world. Like, I never dreamed that I would have, this good of support behind the channel and interacting. I literally talk to some of y'all almost every day or every other day, and so it's just been really awesome, and I hope we can continue to grow this channel. On the Mustang valve covers, let's start here. Like I did on the other videos, you have bolts, bolts there, there, nothing there, nothing there. There was nothing there, nothing there, nothing. So these don't have anything. And I posted it on my last video and asked for some help from other people if, it was just a misprint valve cover or if it was a legit thing. That my other valve cover on the other side has them all the way around it. That was a F-150 valve cover. This was a brand new Mustang valve cover, ordered for a Mustang, whereas the other one was off of the F-150. Everybody in the comments were saying that this is actually legit from Ford, that some stupid crap they did where they skipped the bolts on these. And there's actually like a service bulletin on them where they leak, and they make a kit where you can go through here and drill it and put the bolts in to clamp it down. So all I did was, they actually already had these holes already here. They just weren't all the way through. So I just took the drill bit, the same size as that, and went ahead and drilled them all the way through. And I won't have a nut that stays in place on here, on these, but I will put bolts all the way through on these into, the head, and that way it bolts it down. Your seal is right here. So it's not like you got to worry about, any special seals or anything, because the bolts are on the outside of the seal. So I'm going to just punched it through like I did, and we'll run a bolt through it. So that was easy. Went ahead and took the seal off. We are working on tonight getting these burn down tubes installed. So from the factory, you have this little piece right here that your connector plugs into. Obviously, we don't want that. It's stuck up out of the plastic, and the problem is that if you don't fabricate these perfectly, if you fabricated it perfectly, then this will, no, actually it doesn't even fit down in the tube. I thought it would fit down in there if I fabricated it perfect, but it doesn't on this side. The other side, I feel like it fits in that one, but for some reason this side, it doesn't fit in there. So what I was gonna do is, when I was thinking, all week and everything, I was gonna take a grinder, a 90-degree grinder, and I was just gonna grind it down till it was smooth. And then what that would do is leave me smooth, but it would still leave a small hole. I'm trying to get as big of a hole here as I can, so I have as much flow, less restriction. You still want to keep the baffle, but I don't want restriction, especially when you have this big of a tube. So I got the idea. I said, okay, well, let's take a hole saw, take the drill bit out of it, and I was like, I wonder if it will stay centered for the most part, being that this nipple or this thing fits inside the hole saw pretty much, if it would just ride on the outside of the hole saw. And it did. So if you're going to do one of these, this highest hole saw that I used, because I actually had to order this one online for another project, it is 1 5/8 inches. So that cut that perfect. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to use a panel bond product. And we're going to take this. I'm going to go ahead and pre-drill some holes. One here, one here, one here. Probably one there. We'll go ahead and get as many as we can. For some rivets, to get some rivets through here. Okay? And we are going to rivet this on, but we're going to sandwich panel bond between it, okay? This panel bond is specially made for, a list of different things. But I had them look it up. And it does bond basically aluminum to plastic. So this is what it says on the sheet, and this is 3M 08115. So when you get your panel bond material, you basically have a sheet. It goes over all the rules, the safety stuff, everything. And then in here, I was looking at it earlier, it actually has a chart for cure time. And cure time depends on temperatures are in this column, you know, minutes are in this column, blah, blah, blah. But it says full cure in 24 hours with constant temperature of 73. And then it gives you a rate strength buildup at various temperatures in the chart. Here it shows some example on a vehicle where this kind of panel bond is used, you know, for putting quarter panels on, for putting quarter panels on a van, putting quarter panels on a car, putting a bedside of a truck on, all kinds of interesting stuff. But you can look up this. Man, I'm sorry, my nose is running. Allergies gonna kill me. I know nobody wants to hear somebody sniffling in the background, but I try to refrain from it. So there's the part number if you want to look it up and do some research for yourself. 3M offers a bunch of different products. You just have to make sure you're using the right one for your application. So I originally went to the parts store, and not parts store, my paint supplier, and went to purchase this stuff. And when I went to sign the receipt, I looked at it and I was like, holy crap, $78. I was like, that's crazy. I went ahead and signed the receipt and walked out of there. You know, on the way home, I started thinking, I was like, man, I can't do this. I was like, this is, you know, DIY. This is a budget build. This whole car has been a budget build. And, you know, my information I'm going to give y'all is always how to do it the cheapest, not just running to your local store or whatever and overpaying for something and running your tab way up. So we're all on a budget. We're trying to build the most for our bucks. But I wanted to bond this to it. So I was like, man, I'm just going to use silicone. I was like, we'll rivet this through it, put silicone on there. This should never see oil or anything really unless it, you know, was under pressure in a, you know, a failure situation. But then I was like, no, I was like, I need to just, you know, find out order it. So let's check the good old eBay. So I paid $78 local for a tube of this, but I did not open the tube because I immediately got to thinking. So here's what I paid off eBay. $43 to my door. Okay. There's the auto supply. If you want to look them up on Google or look them up on eBay or contact them or whatever, that is the people that I bought it from. So 78-ish local, 43 online. Pretty crazy. It's crazy how if you don't shop around and use eBay, I've went over eBay multiple times. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole tonight preaching on it, but if you don't use eBay, you could be really paying, because that's like $30 savings. I mean, you know what we buy for $30? You know, that was $50. So that almost is a whole line, you know, that you would have just thrown away, you know, or some fittings. I mean, I think these ends right here, they were about 30. I think they were 27, 28. I put them in another video. So, I mean, if you just order this on eBay, you just saved yourself enough money to buy your, you know, your fittings. Like, you can't just be throwing away money. I mean, I could, but then I would just end up with a ton of money into the project. So anyway, that's where we're at, okay? So we're going to drill the holes. We're going to apply the panel bond to here. Now, when you're working with panel bond material and not plastic repair, because we've used things like this in other videos, plastic repair can set sometimes as fast as, you know, 90 seconds. But this right here, cure time's 24 hours, clamp time 4 hours, work time 90 minutes. So this, you can work with this stuff, you know, after you squirt it out for 90 minutes. And then it has to be clamped for 4 hours. After 4 hours, you can remove the clamps, but it's not going to be cured for 24 hours. So it's Sunday night. I think a lot of people are probably watching that ball stuff on TV. I think there's like something going on tonight with a bunch of balls. People like throwing them around or something. There's supposed to be like a music concert or something like between the balls. I don't know. There's something going on TV, so I figured that, you know, this would be an excellent night to come out in the garage and work on the car. So we're going to get these drilled. We're going to put the material on here. We're going to pre-drill our rivets ahead of time, and then we're going to clamp down with our rivets. So our rivets are going to be our clamp. We're not going to take the rivets out. We're just going to leave them in there. We are going to put panel bond over the rivet holes, and that will be what really helps secure it. I mean, this thing should never come off. Man, you probably won't get this off. If you need to fix this, you're going to have to buy another cover. So that's what we're working on tonight. I know I've been holding this video off for a few from y'all because I was waiting for this to come in the mail. So let's get these. I'm going to get these holes pre-drilled, and then I'm going to get this loaded in the gun, and we will get these applied. Before I do that, if you flip it over, so this is going to be all your baffling. So you're right here. This is where it looks like the oil comes in, and it looks like it's baffled all through here. And then the only place I can find or fill that is opened is this right here, is this channel right here, okay? So that's open right there for the oil to go inside of, and then it has to go up around all this to out of there. That's your baffling. I don't know. I'm a little nervous about that not being enough in case it needs to get out of here fast and, you know, pack its bag and roll. So I think I'm just going to take this step down bit so I feel a little bit better. And I'm just going to drill a hole right here. So I'm not going to come up here and take a chance of disturbing anything up there, even though I don't think it would matter. But we are going to go ahead and just drill a little fatter hole right here so that it has just a little bit more to get up inside there. And I'm probably overkill. Y'all can let me know in the video. Matter of fact, comment if you think I should drill or cut more of this baffling out, okay? Because I'm gonna go ahead and install these. By the time you see the video, these will probably be installed, but it ain't hard to take these off. And even if I don't do it right away, next time I have them off, you know, maybe then I'll go ahead and do it. While we have them off, there's all of the cams and engine and everything. As you can see, we've got L&M race engine lockouts, you know, everything. TKM put everything together, you know, pretty cool. L&M race engine. So shout out to L&M. They do some pretty sick Coyote stuff, but I had TKM put everything together. And if I would have knew I was going to go with TKM ahead of time, I probably would have seen if they offer. I don't even know if they offer or whatever, if they wanted to do the cams. But these are custom L&M race engine blower cams that were custom grinded for this motor and for this build. And then the L&M race engine sells the lockouts because everything's fully locked down on this motor. Everything's deleted and got rid of. So shout out to them. But that's what it looks like on the inside. For anybody that's, you know, interested. I don't know why, but the valve cover's off. So pretty standard stuff, but there you go. So we're gonna get all this done, get all this put together, but comment if you think I need to open more of this up or drill anything out, or just let me know in the comments what you think I should do if you know what you're talking about. I'm just gonna put a hole through it like this for right now. And if I need to add something or change something, I'm sure y'all will let me know, and I will listen to the ones that are smarter than me and do it. So let's get at it. So we got our tube on there and we pre-drilled our holes for our rivets in it. So now we're just going to load up our gun. And to do that, you just put it in, squeeze the trigger, and then it will start loading itself in the nozzle. It will start coming out. We're going to put some panel bond over the hole, okay, just like you would like gasket maker, to make sure that the hole's still up. And this side we got to put a little extra, because that side is cutting it really close. But you don't want so much that it's gonna come out. Release your trigger so it stops, just like any caulking gun that you would use. And then just set your piece on there. And then we're gonna go ahead and clamp it down. This is probably easier said than done, right? Because I gotta find where the hole was at. Now I'm just using regular 1/8" rivets. This one I did have to go in a little bit at an angle, a little crooked basically, because of the way the piping is, but I just wanted to make sure I got something in this corner. All right, so there you go. So that's our panel bond all around it, and I just want to make sure that she's good up under this lip, which she is. She oozed all out. So that's our first one mounted on there, and you can see, you know, you got plenty of oozing panel bond out of the sides, which is perfect. Telling you got a nice, you know, bond. It's definitely in there. So when this thing dries, you know, you come back 24 hours from now, if you drill your rivets out, man, I bet you it would take some extreme force to get this stuff off. I used the panel bond stuff, and you can look videos up on it, and it is just absolutely amazing. But the rivets alone, you could probably use silicone if you don't want to spend the $50 on that stuff. It's just, I don't know. This is one area I'd rather just overkill, you know, with all the vibrations or anything. I just don't want the rivets and the plastic to eventually work themselves loose. And, you know, with silicone, and then it ends up falling off, or, you know, developing a leak that we don't know about, and then we have a failure and it's blowing oil all out all over the place. So this definitely ain't gonna work. I bet a few guys from TKM are watching and freaking cringing for all this plastic that I have drilled out of this, you know, especially in that area that the baffling, I blew it out with an air gun. Okay, y'all? Relax. Because I know they are freaking out because they're the ones that put the motor together. But I blew it out, y'all. Calm down. I blew it out. And I'm going to blow more air in it once, you know, to just make sure everything's nice and clean real fast before I put it on here. Not a lot because I don't want to blow the panel bond out, even though it's pretty tight. But I blew it out really good before we started. So, and I'll make sure there's no trash on the inside of here either. Because you don't want to get trash inside your motor. But that's that. I'm going to get this put back on the motor and then do the other side. I'm not going to bore y'all with the other side because it's basically the same way. The only thing about the other side is I had this really thin, Mike is going to be like, dude, why are you showing my welds? So this really, if you look back on the video, there was like no edge to this, and it literally just melted and burnt all up whenever we put it together. So we're going to get 3 rivets in this one, and then a bunch of panel bond, you know, or some panel bond around this. And then I'm also going to roll some panel bond across the top of this to clean all this up and make it look good. I'm not going to grind it smooth because I don't want to lose no meat there. But I'm just going to roll some panel bond over it to fill all that in and get that side. This side is a lot harder because you don't have the space to work with like you do the other side. You can see how they've cut it really close right there to that one. So that one's going to be a lot harder, you know, not as easy as this one where you have wide open space. So that's why I kind of wanted to show y'all this one as an instructional, and then you can make this one up as you go. But it's solid, ain't gonna come undone. It's a good flange to work with, and it's plenty of space for us to get the panel bond in there. So I probably should grind some of that off the bottom of that though, real fast. I'll probably take a file to the bottom of this just to make sure it sits smooth. But that's that. I'm gonna get this together and then show y'all what we got when we're done with all this. Okay, a couple interesting things on the F-150 valve cover versus the Mustang. Like I said, this is the one that come off the truck. This is a truck motor. Well, there's nothing left of the truck motor except for literally the crank and the block and the heads. Everything else has been Mustang or custom. Is the other side, the bolts don't come out. You know, you see me on that one? This side, they do. And they actually are not just a straight through hole. They kind of are inset for these little rubber guys. So that's, you know, an interesting difference. And then the baffling on the F-150 one is huge. The baffling is all the way down here. And there's actually the only place I could find open is right here versus the Mustang, you know, we had a lot less baffling. So definitely going to be drilling some holes in this. I'm really thinking about drilling a hole about halfway. I don't feel like all this baffling is needed. Just my opinion. I could be wrong. Y'all correct me. But this side's actually already broke anyway. So you can see right there. This is where something happened. It's come loose or something over time. I don't know. I'll probably sneak a little panel bond in there. Maybe crack that open like that. Slip a little panel bond up in there just to help secure that. But it's not gonna hurt anything as long as it don't come apart. Might replace it later on with Mustang, but yeah. So I'm definitely gonna drill a hole probably in the center. That's what I'm thinking. Let's see here. Yeah, about right there in the center. Feels like we got some openings. So, but that's a pretty cool little difference for anybody that's wondering. I know it's a very common question. F-150 versus Mustang. F-150 versus Mustang. All over the forums of, you know, the differences. So another cool thing is that the F-150 does not have the little balls for your coal covers. You have to buy these versus the Mustang one came with them already installed. So that's what your coal cover clips into to cover your coals. These are going to also have to be trimmed, cut like this to clear, basically instead of snapping straight on, they have to be cleared to cut to clear the burn down tubes down. But yeah, and you can just see how little of a difference. And I don't know if maybe the driver's side Mustang one is shaped different, and maybe this is just an F-150 thing. You know, like I said, I might replace this at some point. But there's the Mustang other side that we cut out versus the driver's side, put the F-150. So I don't know. Maybe that's how it's supposed to be. Maybe it's different. But this one's going to go on like this, basically. So you can see we don't have a lot of room to work, but we'll definitely get some panel bond in there. Okay, quick note. Prep your area before you put the panel bond on. The other side, I just dived right in and didn't even prep the area. I'm not even going to lie to y'all. I'm not really worried about it because I feel like this will bond to this textured plastic pretty good, but you still should always prep your area. So all I did was take this 90-degree sander with like some 36 grit on it and just went and smoothed this out. I did use the hole saw on this side, which is the F-150 valve cover at 1 1/8 is the hole saw I used for this side. It didn't exactly fit over it, but I was able to walk it on top of it. It did cut it a little crooked, which left, a little bit of an edge to grind down, but everything's nice and smooth now. And then I took the grinder to the bottom of this, prep that, so I'm gonna drill my holes now and then get this panel bonded on. So this side actually worked out good with the baffling being cracked. I don't recommend you cracking it, but that allowed me to basically see up inside of there. And I am gonna put some panel bond back on this to seal it back down, but I did blow it. I drilled that hole right there, and then I blew it out really good from here, which shot a bunch of trash out of this side. And then also that shot a bunch out of the opening that we opened up right there. So that allows me, being open like that, to see up inside there and, kind of take a look. So it would be nice if this thing just popped out, but it doesn't. I don't want to do no more damage to it. So everything's intact, and also don't want to break this where little pieces are coming out, when the motor first cranks up, and then we have problems. But I think since I did do some drilling on this, that whenever we finally put the motor together and fire it, I'll probably let it run for maybe 1 minute, if that. Probably 1 minute, and then I'll probably drop the oil out of it and the filter out of it and do a change on it just in case there's any trash or debris in the motor, because I don't want to chance it. All right, so there we go. We got the left-hand one on, so that went perfect like it is. And like I said, I did roll some panel bond over top of that edge. I put a pretty good amount on this side before I put it on there. I put it on there, and then I rolled some extra over top to really make sure that settles in there. So there you go. We're gonna let that dry tonight. I'm not gonna push it and rush putting these back on. It's no big deal. I got the panel bond on the bottom, glued that back on. That way we don't have to worry about that coming off. Not really worried about sealing it up so much, but just making sure that it don't come apart in the motor, and that's that. So let these dry overnight, and then we'll get these back together this week. And then the next video, I'll probably, let's see here, hold it off for putting the pieces on, doing the lines, and getting them into the firewall. So that'll probably be the next video. So this video, I just wanted to go over actually attaching them to your covers. So like, comment, subscribe, share, turn on that notifications, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.